Hello, my name is Abby Leonhard, and I am a leadership mentor.
Hi, I'm Elise Bezold, and I'm also a leadership mentor.
And today we're going to talk about how to work smart and not hard. And this is more of a focus on how to take care of your health and the importance of it as a student. So there are three different types of health. The first one is physical, which is the type we most often think about when we're talking about health. There's also mental and emotional health, as well as social health. And we're talking about these three different types of health today because there's a positive correlation between your health and academic performance. So this is one way you can improve as a student. So the first one is physical health.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is creating a sleep routine, which can help you feel better both physically and mentally. And so here are a few tips on creating that good sleep routine. So the first thing you might want to try is changing the time you wake up first. Studies show that, going to bed earlier is not an effective method. It just leads to tossing and turning and feeling more stressed than you really need to. So psychologists say to set your alarm 15 to 30 minutes earlier than like your normal wake up time. So let's say you usually get up at 10 in the morning, try setting your alarm for 9:30 instead, and then gradually keep setting your alarm earlier until you reach that target wake up time. And it is totally normal to feel groggy in the 20 to 30 minutes you first wake up, so don't feel like you're not doing it effectively. You also want to try to get some natural light early in the morning. 15 minutes of sunlight upon waking up or as soon as you wake up or as close to you waking up is really helpful. It tells your body to wake up and that your melatonin production will be suppressed, which is what causes you to feel tired. When you go to bed, don't use screens within an hour of sleeping. So no watching TV, read a book, meditate, deep breathing methods will be really effective in helping you fall asleep. Caffeine later in the day is a no-go. That will keep you up. It'll cause you to not have an earlier wake up time. If you start to feel tired, instead of drinking caffeine, try exercising or getting up and just walking around. That'll help you feel more awake. So the next one is be careful about napping. So if you tend to nap at like 7 o'clock, don't do it. It's gonna force you to not go to bed at a decent time and you're not gonna feel tired at night. So if you do need to nap, try it around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and only nap for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Listen to your body and go to bed when you're sleepy. So we often get this second wind. I know I do. Don't try to push through it. Go to bed when you're tired. And then be consistent. So going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time will help you kind of feel less tired and create a good routine of going to bed. And train your body to see your bed as a place of sleeping. Don't do your homework on your bed. Don't watch Netflix on your bed. See it as a place for you to sleep. All right, probiotics. So probiotics are the good bacteria that are in your body. They occur in your gut, on your skin, all around you. They help fight off the bad bacteria that typically infects you and makes you sick. When your microbiota in your body is unbalanced, you're more susceptible to disease. So that's really important right now with COVID, is that if you have an imbalance, it's showing that you can get the more intense infections and it can be worse for you. So it can also be effective, the probiotics, in treating a variety of diseases and preventing them. Research is still proving how much you need and what is needed. So this is really effective for if you have eczema, which is a skin condition, or if you're lactose intolerant, or upper respiratory infections like the cold. And you can find your probiotics in fermented foods like yogurt, pickles, sauerkraut, cottage cheese. And a really popular fermented drink that I know a lot of people drink is kombucha. And that's super helpful in getting your probiotics back on track. And when you are looking for something to eat or drink with the probiotics in it, make sure you check the label and it says live and active cultures.
All right, the next aspect we're going to talk about with physical health is exercising daily. And so when I came into college, I was actually an athlete, and I thought I had to do like this big strenuous workout, and I was thinking exercising daily, that's crazy, because I thought every exercise had to be like running a whole lot or lifting a whole lot, and it really doesn't have to be like that. Exercising daily can be just as simple as just walking outside, just moving and getting your blood flowing. That's really just exercising daily, making sure that you're moving your body every day. So some benefits from exercising daily is you're able to control your weight, you're able to fight against diseases, especially heart-related diseases. You're able to lift your mood. I know that like after I run, I experience this like runner's high. And usually in the past, I would think, oh, and exercising or scheduling a workout would actually make me less productive because I'm spending all that time working out instead of studying. But I've actually found, especially this year, that I actually am more productive afterwards. Instead of spending hours staring at a screen, I do a workout in between, and then I'm able to have more energy to get what I need to get done. And so that's another thing, gain more energy. And this is more consistently, you get more energy. So if you're exercising daily, you're moving around daily, you are gaining more energy than you would if you were just sitting down all day, every day. And then another thing is, Elise was talking about sleep. This is a great way for you to get better sleep. I know that if I have a good workout, usually I get tired, and so I'm able to more easily fall asleep, as if instead of if I was just sitting down all day and then trying to lay down again to sleep. Some recommendations. So these are some recommendations that professionals have sent out. So doing at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise. So that's just like walking, anything that's super light but is getting the body moving, the blood flowing, and or 75 minutes at least of strenuous aerobic exercise. So this can be like running, anything that is more higher tense than like a walk. And aerobic exercise can be other different things, such as like biking, it can be jump rope, it can be dancing, swimming, so many other forms you can do. If running's more my thing, but if running isn't your thing, there are so many different ways for you to exercise daily. And then another thing is that a lot of times when we think of exercising, we're just thinking of cardio or we're just thinking of lifting, and it's really healthy to incorporate both. So they recommend that you strength train at least twice a week. And now this doesn't mean that you have to like do a PR lift twice a week. It can just be a simple thing as just doing like push-ups or squats, and these can just be like your body weight. I know that this is a different time and not everyone is able to go to a gym right now or to go lift heavily, but you can always do like push-ups or modified strength training at home. And then I'm just going to talk briefly about this. This was something that was super useful to me. I ran on a varsity team, and I also had chronic pain at one point. And so this was a great way for me to just journal what I was doing every day. And so if I was feeling bad one day, I could see what maybe had caused that. And so this was really informative, so I could go to my doctors and be like, hey, like my head was really bothering me this day, and these are things I did this day. And then it could happen again. And so there's some kind of correlation or some kind of repetition where I can notice how different things affect me and how I feel and how I'm doing. I think you're muted.
All right, now we're going to talk about eating a well-balanced diet, and we're going to have a nutritionist from UCLA talk about that.
I'm Dana Hunnis, a registered dietitian with UCLA Health. Let's talk about a very important topic that sometimes gets a bad rap: nutrition. Start your day off right with a healthy breakfast. Consider scrambled egg whites or tofu with fruit instead of a bagel or sugar-coated muffin. If you need a snack during the day, consider having Greek yogurt, hummus, or pre-cut veggies and fruit, which will give you a steady energy boost unlike cookies, a chocolate bar, or an energy drink. When you crave something sweet, consider having a piece of fruit instead. It's nature's candy. Whenever possible, eat fresh foods. And for increased benefits, buy locally grown and organic. They're fresher, tastier, and right off the farm, making them even more nutritious. Also, buying fruits and vegetables while in season costs less. Visit local farms, which offer the option to pick your own fruit and or veggies, and make it a fun event for the whole family. Consider joining a community-supported agriculture program, where you can receive a box of in-season produce from your local farm delivered right to your home. If you don't have easy access to fresh food or to keep these foods longer, consider frozen instead of canned. Choose lean meats that have less saturated fat. Vary your protein consumption by eating seafood 2 times a week. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, eating 8 ounces of seafood per week may help reduce the risk of heart disease. Reduce or eliminate your soda intake. Choose water instead. Remember, we eat with our eyes first. Bring some color to your plate to make your meals more interesting. Enjoy dark green vegetables such as broccoli, romaine lettuce, and spinach, as well as bright red and orange foods such as red peppers, pumpkin, sweet potatoes, and juicy tomatoes. Whether staying in or eating out, choose grilled or baked foods, which are lower in saturated fat and calories than fried or breaded foods. Enjoy your food, but reduce portions. Many times, just serving your meal on a smaller plate will help you reduce your portion size. Just making a few conscious choices about what and how you eat is all you need to get started. I'm Dana. Thanks for watching.
All right, so now we're going to talk about going outside. Research suggests that getting outside is really beneficial for both our physical and mental health. It can lower our stress and anxiety levels and decrease our depression levels. So sunlight has this awesome vitamin called vitamin D in it, which is very important in preventing diseases like cancer, depression, heart attacks, and strokes. And most people, because we spend a lot of time inside because we're in school or we're working, we have low levels of vitamin D. So researchers and scientists suggest getting outside for 10 to 15 minutes at a minimum each day on a really sunny day. And your cheeks are a really good part of your body that absorbs a lot of vitamin D. And sunlight also energizes our T cells, which are a very important part of our immune system, and they help fight off infection. It can also elevate our mood. Sunlight tends to increase our serotonin levels, which is the happiness hormone, and it makes us feel happier, it raises our energy, and we feel more calm and positive. And then our concentration will improve, especially if you've been working on something for a while. Get up from in front of your computer or book or whatever you're doing and just walk outside, walk to your mailbox, take a run, do whatever you need to do. And that change of scenery could help boost your problem solving skills and help you refocus.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute myself. These are some ways for you guys very easily at NKU to do some of the things we talked about. So One way to get some free food, some healthy food, is going to Fuel. So that's in the Outright Health Center. It's actually right in the recreation center. So if you walk into the recreation center on the left, you should be able to find the Outright Health Center. Right now, because of the circumstances we are in, they are doing appointments. And so these are the hours for the appointments. They also have emergency hours that you can find on their website. And then also another thing is you can use the campus recreation center. So those are the hours that are listed below right now currently. Those can always change, but those are the current hours right now. And this is a great way to just get moving. Even you can just use there is a track, mini track in the recreation center that you can use to just walk. Right, and the next type of health that we'll be talking about is mental and emotional health. So journaling. So journaling is just basically a way to do all the things I listed right here for you all. It's just a great thing to do. I know this is something I started doing last year, and I have seen all of these things implemented in my life because of the journaling. So if you ever just needed to write down about your day, just spending like 15 minutes, just having a piece of paper, having a journal, and just writing about what you're feeling, how your day went, anything you want to write about, you can. So journaling has been scientifically shown to regulate emotions, increase confidence, in your self-identity, help you reduce stress, lower blood pressure, increase actually the functioning of your liver, and it also is a great way to help you meditate on the day and just calm down and de-stress. It also helps you increase your creativity. So if you're like an arts major, or even if you're someone who is more stimulated like Elise and me, creativity is really important in all careers in life. The next thing we're going to talk about is counseling and talking to someone. And so one quick thing I want to mention is that the Health Counseling and Student Wellness Center, they offer counseling sessions. And so if you are seeking talking to someone or are more curious into counseling, you can go to them. The sessions are like $15 per session. I don't know if you are struggling financially and $15 is maybe too much for your budget. There are some options that you can do that are for free. And so some things about counseling that can be really beneficial, I know they've been very beneficial for me, is they can help make your problems more clear. So you can be going through something and talking it out might make a problem more clear to you. It helps you manage depression, anxiety, stress, and these are really high in college students. So this is a great way to help manage those, especially if you're in the dealing with these things currently. It also is a great way to increase confidence. So just you're going to learn a lot of tools to use, and so you can become more confident as well. And as you become more clear about problems and so forth, it's just something that helps you go about life more confidently. Another thing is it can help you be open to areas of growth and change. So you're talking about your life, and so you're able to see like maybe some areas where you can grow and self-improve. And then also counseling can really benefit you because it can help you make better decision making. So I mentioned like counselors are going to give you some tools and some skills that you can use in your life to help manage different things or help you during certain problems. And so this is just going to really help you with your decision making.
All right, staying organized. So staying organized is really beneficial for our mental health. I know when I have a messy workspace, I feel way more stressed and way more anxious than I usually do. So your first step is declutter your workspace because all that clutter can cause a lot of stress. So remove any of those books or papers you don't need at the time and put them away, throw it away. Next, use a planner or a calendar. Google Calendar, use your Outlook calendar that comes with your NKU email, or buy a planner and try color coding. So the assignments for each class make each class a different color. make any of your clubs a different color, and that can also be really nice for just your mental health. Create a to-do list. This is really important maybe on your busiest weeks. You want to write on a Post-it note everything that's due, and then put the date it's due in parentheses. And this will help you know what to prioritize. And it is also very fulfilling to be able to cross something out on a list because you feel like you've accomplished something. Create a quiet workspace, especially if a task at hand is super important. If you live with family or friends, let them know, set those boundaries, let them know that you need a quiet workspace, so please don't bother me, and just let them know and they'll be understanding. You want to also break your largest tasks down into smaller tasks and then spread those smaller tasks out over a period of time. This will help you feel like you can accomplish it and feel less stressed. Schedule breaks. Don't try and study for an hour at a time. Try to study for 15 to 30 minutes and then have a break in between each of those hardcore studying that's like 5 to 10 minutes. And in that break, go do something, exercise, take a walk to your mailbox, walk around your house or your neighborhood, go pet your pet or your dog or cat. Do something that's non-stimulating and not related to academics. And lastly, reward yourself. This will make it so much easier the next day to keep being productive. A simple reward could be eating ice cream or, eating food or watching a show or seeing a movie or just telling others. It's going to make you feel like you can accomplish anything. Learning how to say no, which is super important in your college career because you are going to be offered so many different opportunities, like different clubs, different activities, and you have to know when is the right time to say no. So a professor at University of Houston said, the ability to communicate no really reflects that you are in the driver's seat of your own life. It gives you a sense of empowerment. And I think that really holds true in any time you say no. So it can feel awkward. You can feel anxious about saying no. So one of the ways to decrease that anxiety is to say, I don't instead of I can't. I don't says that you've set these boundaries for yourself, and those boundaries aren't up for debate because they're personal. People are going to be way more willing to accept an I don't statement than an I can't. So maybe a friend asks you to go get coffee at Starbucks after class, and you can say to them, instead of saying I can't, I need to study, you could be like, I don't drink coffee after 2 o'clock. It's going to make you sound like you've set those boundaries, and they're going to be more understanding. We also live in a culture that has influenced us to believe that saying yes to everything is making you more successful or makes you seem like the go-getter, rather than a person who says no to things. One way to kind of make yourself feel like you're being successful or any of that is to, figure out what your goals are in the future, figure out your future plans, and, cater what you say yes to those plans instead of what you are saying no to. And then don't feel like you're being overly assertive when you say no. A study showed that how we perceive our assertiveness when we say no is totally unreliable. If you feel like you're being overly assertive, chances are the person who you're saying no to doesn't feel that way at all.
All right, so the next part we're going to talk about is praying and or meditating. So not everyone is religious, and so we understand that. And so maybe praying isn't your thing, but these have been some things that have scientifically been proven to help with your mental and emotional health. So with prayer, some scientific studies have shown that prayer helps lower feeling lonely. It helps you feel less stressed. It helps you feel less fearful, and also can help manage and lower your anger and aggression. So these are some benefits to praying. And then here is a little video to talk more about the power of meditation and how that can help you with your health.
For thousands of years, people have practiced meditation for spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. But from a scientific perspective, how exactly does meditating affect your body? Does it really do anything? It all starts in the brain. During meditation, brain scans see increased activity in regions directly correlated with decreased anxiety and depression, along with increased pain tolerance. The default mode network, in particular, is activated when one's mind is at rest and not focusing on the outside world, and has been found to improve memory, self-awareness, and goal setting. Want to be more caring to your friends and family? When scientists compared the brains of Buddhist monks to new meditators, they found the region of the brain associated with empathy to be much more pronounced in the monks. It also literally changes your brain waves, and we can measure these frequencies. Meditators have higher levels of alpha waves, which have been shown to reduce feelings of negative mood, tension, sadness, and anger. And if that wasn't enough, it also physically changes our brain shape and size. Studies found that after 8 weeks of a meditation program, gray matter was more dense in areas associated with learning, memory processing, and emotion regulation. And yet the amygdala, which deals with stress, blood pressure, and fear, had decreased gray matter. When we look at the entire body, not only do we see decreased blood pressure, but it can also increase the variability of your heart rate. And while this may sound harmful, it actually plays a critical role in properly transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout your body. Think you're getting sick? In a study where both meditators and non-meditators were given the flu virus, meditators were able to produce a greater number of antibodies and had increased immune function. If we go a little deeper, we can even see changes on a cellular level. Your chromosomes have protective protein complexes called telomeres, which help reduce damage to your DNA and lower cell death. And a shortened telomere length has been linked to several diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Amazingly, when cancer survivors completed a meditation program, their bodies showed significant increases in telomere length. It's believed that psychological intervention, particularly decreasing stress, has a direct effect on the enzyme telomerase, which has been shown to counteract shortening by adding DNA to the shrinking telomeres. Of course, meditation is not a substitute for other medical advice or a healthy lifestyle. We don't want you leaving this video thinking it will cure cancer. But much like hitting the gym can grow your muscles and increase your overall health, it seems that meditation may be a way of working out your brain with extra health benefits. And since your brain controls, well, all of you, why not relax and say, every once in a while. And if you like working out your brain, be sure to get our ASAP Science book, which is now
All right. The next slide we're going to talk about is Enneagram. So this, just briefly, this could really help you with your mental and emotional health, and actually some of your other healths as well. Just knowing who you are and what drives you. So like I'm a 2, and so my whole drive is I want others to feel loved, and I want to feel loved as well. And so learning when that can look very healthy for me and learning when that can look very unhealthy. And I have seen what it said as unhealthy and healthy in my life at different points. And I could actually be like, okay, yes, I was not feeling that great during that time. I was not feeling super healthy during that time. And so just knowing your Enneagram and your wing, those could definitely help you in learning what looks healthy and unhealthy for you. And then the next thing we want to talk about with mental and emotional health is taking a break from social media. And so I know as college students, we are usually always on social media, especially during this time right now. It seems to be one of the few ways we can actually still communicate with our friends, with family, and so forth. But it's really important to take a break, even if there's lots going on and social media can be actually very educational and informative. It's still important to take breaks and take care of yourself. And so taking breaks can help you reduce feeling stressed, anxious, or sad. It could help you feel less competitive because there's lots of comparing. So it also can reduce comparing yourself to others. So social media usually is about looking at others, and like it has aspects like how many likes you have and so forth. And so just taking a break can really reduce that competitiveness in you and decrease that level of competition, because constantly being competitive is really unhealthy. And there's also been a lot of studies showing that there's a positive correlation between social media usage and depression. So just reducing your usage can decrease the likelihood of you getting depression. And so here is a little video just to talk about what I just mentioned. All right, and then one of the final things we're going to talk about with mental and emotional health, this is going to be really quick and brief, but essentially, so if mental health could actually impact you in how you manage your money, and then it just starts a cycle about, and then you worry about your money, or it could start the other way. You worry about worrying about money, and then that just makes your mental health worse. And so creating a budget is just a simple way of being able to both manage your money as well as manage your mental health, because it can become a vicious cycle. And then the last health we're going to talk about is social health.
All right. So we're going to talk about learning who you are and your social needs, and this has to do with the Myers-Briggs personality test. And the video we're going to watch is going to explain each of those different types.
Human beings enjoy categorizing things. It facilitates our understanding of relationships between things or concepts that might seem unrelated, as well as creating initial connections that in turn build relationships. It's no surprise then that personality quizzes are so popular, although the majority of them are either outrageously inaccurate or somewhat true at best. The Myers-Briggs test, however, has gained much popularity as a deeply insightful and accurate profile of characteristics within a person. Created by Isabel Briggs Myers and her mother Catherine, the test based on Carl Jung's psychological types categorizes individuals into one of 16 types. These types are 4-letter acronyms, divided on the different ways a person perceives and relates to the world and others around them. The 4-letter acronyms can be defined as the following: introvert versus extrovert. The first acronym characterizes individuals as either introverted or extroverted. A misconception of introverts is that they are reserved or shy, but it is actually how they derive energy from their inner world and need to be alone to recharge. They may feel drained of energy when spending too much time with others. Extroverts, on the other hand, are energized by interaction with people. Their energy comes from outer world activities, as they prefer to move into action and make things happen. Intuition versus sensing. Sensing types tend to pay attention to the physical world around them.
They notice facts, the practicality of things, and trust experience heavily. Intuitive types prefer to work with the abstract, paying more attention to meaning and patterns. They are more interested in new possibilities or thinking about ideas than reality and hands-on experience. Thinking versus feeling. This pair describes how individuals prefer to make decisions. Thinkers prefer to make decisions logically, by being impersonal to avoid outside influences. They look for logical explanations, then apply it when making decisions, and believe that truth is more important than tact. In contrast, feeling types weigh personal opinion and other points of view when making decisions. Concerned with harmony and how the people involved will be affected, they lean more towards tact than telling the cold truth. They like to approach decision-making through compassion and heart. And lastly, judging versus perceiving. These traits express your orientation to the outer world, what others tend to see. Judging types are commonly seen as orderly and live to have control over their lives through organisation. They are seen as list makers, task-orientated, and are usually work before play kind of people. Those who are a perceiving type, however, appear to be flexible and spontaneous. Instead of organising their world, perceiving types look as if they want to adapt to it, mixing work and play and keeping plans to a minimum. So, those are the 4 categories of the Myers-Briggs personality types. An individual's final type is made up of one of each of the categories, then combined. In the description below are links to various sources, including an online test to determine what your type is. Take the test and comment below on your type. I'm an INFP. What personality type are you? Also, how accurate was your profile? Thanks for watching.
All right, so it's important now with COVID to incorporate people when you study. And so a few tips are working in small groups, like 4 to 5 people, and having one person, be the person who keeps everyone on track. And then also planning the session ahead of time, knowing what topics you want to cover, what topics are the hardest for people, what topics are easier. That'll help you get into it quicker. And then also teach each other, learn from each other, and quiz each other. This can all show a greater understanding of the material and better prepare you for the test or assignments due. And then at the end, reflect on the session. What did you learn? What do you still need to focus on by yourself? And what should the next session focus on?
Okay, and the next aspect we're going to talk about with social health is learning your boundaries. And this is really important in maintaining healthy relationships. In all relationships, this doesn't mean just dating. This means like your friendships, with your family members, and so forth. And so you have to learn, and this takes time and reflection, but like learning about yourself and what is not okay with you. I know therapy is one way, or counseling is one way to help you learn what is and what is not okay with you. And so some ways after you learn your boundaries and how to maintain a healthy relationship is learning how to communicate those boundaries with others. And so if people don't know something is a boundary for you, they can't change how they act. So like for one thing for me, yelling is like a big no-no. I don't appreciate when people yell at me. It's one of my boundaries. And so if I don't communicate with someone that is yelling at me, they're never going to know that's not okay. Another thing is never assuming. And so just because someone does something to me, like let's say someone does yell at me, it doesn't mean there's necessarily anything wrong with me. It just means that they might be going through something. So I don't want to assume why they are doing something. Just communicate that something is not okay with you, but don't assume, someone could just be going through a rough day or something of that nature. So don't assume why they are doing things. Another thing is, so keeping your promises. And so this is just one way of keeping boundaries, and just that when you make a promise, you need to keep it. Or, you can start creating unhealthy relationships if you're constantly breaking promises. And so just learning what your boundaries are, what you can and can't do. So like if I have a friend I want to say, like, I want to be there for my friends, and I wish I could, like, always be there for my friends. And in a way I can, but something I always try to say is like, hey, I might not be able to answer a phone call always right away, or I might not be able to help you out right this instance. I might be in a class or working on something, but I could be like, hey, I can help you maybe later on. Does this work with you? So just making sure you don't make promises that you can't keep. Another thing is learning how to take responsibility. So this is really hard, and like this is still something I struggle with and lots of people struggle with, but taking responsibility is a great way to help maintain boundaries and maintaining healthy relationships. Because if it's always another person's fault, no one wants to be in a relationship where it's always their fault and the other person's always like perfect and does everything right, because we're all imperfect human beings. We're all going to mess up, and that's okay. But just learning what your boundaries are and communicating and learning when, hey, maybe I should be more responsible for what I did. And then another thing is moving on when you need to. So this doesn't even just have to be like romantic relationships. This is just for all relationships. And so if you constantly communicate that something is not okay with you, if you constantly communicate a boundary and a person consistently disrespects or does not respect that boundary, then it may be a good point to move on, because it's not healthy to keep people who aren't going to respect what is not okay with you. So yeah, once you learn your boundaries and once you communicate them and so forth, there's some relationships you have to cut off.
So next we're going to talk about blocking out quality time and socially engaging with others. Especially right now with COVID, it's really important that we're still maintaining those relationships. So physically schedule out the time, like put it in your calendar. That way it is set in stone and you will remember to, hang out with your friends or do something that you enjoy. Personally, I block out Friday evenings as a time that I don't think about my schoolwork. I just sit down and I watch Netflix for an hour or two, and then I go to bed. I feel rested and more prepared to hit it strong and do all my studying on Saturday and Sunday. Right now, if you can't really get together with people because of the virus, do something fun on Zoom or FaceTime. You can play a Zoom scavenger hunt in your house or play charades or a card game. There's plenty of ways to have fun on Zoom. And right now with the nice weather, try to stay outside. Go for a picnic, just sit outside and enjoy nature. Get your 15 minutes of sunlight that we all need right now. And then if you have to go inside, make sure you wear your mask when you're around people you don't normally spend a lot of time with, and let your friends know your boundaries surrounding COVID. If you aren't comfortable being within like close proximity or being around others right now indoors, let them know. And then if you're on the receiving end of those boundaries, be understanding. Don't assume that they just don't want to be around you or anything. There could be circumstances that we don't know about. They're living with someone who's immunocompromised. So just don't judge, be, flexible, especially during this time.
Yeah, and that is the end of our presentation. And so thank you all for listening to this. And just to kind of tie up on the social health, if you're an incoming student and you're trying to find ways to communicate, like meet new people, communicate, reach out to like one of your orientation leaders, reach out to upperclassmen you meet. Maybe it's through different retreats through this year or at different meetings. Try to look up organizations on My Engagement, find different ways to get involved that way. Go do your Zoom office hours with your professor and get to know your professors. And maybe there's a student in your classes, even if it's via Zoom, you can be like, send them a private message and be like, hey, do you want to maybe study later? So there's so many different ways. Just you might have to reach out, you might have to research a little bit, but there's going to be ways for you to meet new people, even if it's virtually. And so, yeah. thank you all for listening to our presentation, and we hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.